Let's see, do we have all council members with us?
I'm here.
I'm not seeing Susan. Now I am. Okay. All right. With that, let's go ahead and call this meeting of the adjourned regular meeting of December 2, 2020 of the Camarillo City Council to order. Madam Clerk, may I please have the roll?
Councilmember Craven.
Here.
Councilmember Kildee.
Here.
Councilmember Molche.
Present.
Vice Mayor Santangelo.
Here.
Mayor Tremblay.
Here. Would you please all rise and join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Mr. Ramirez, do we have any amendments to the agenda this evening?
We
There
do
are
not.
no amendments to the agenda.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any public comments? This is the time on the agenda where the public is invited to make any public comments on any item on the agenda this evening or any item of interest that is not on the agenda. And let me go to my screen and see if I can see anyone with, and if you do have a public comment, would you please raise your hand and we will recognize you. Madam Clerk, I do not see anyone who has their hands raised wishing to make a public comment.
That's correct.
All right, seeing that there are no public comments, let's go to item 3 on the agenda, which is the general municipal election of November 3, 2020, resolution declaring results.
Yes, so on November 3rd, 2020, we held a general municipal election in the city of Camarillo for the election of 2 city council members to the Camarillo City Council. This election was unique because this was the first time in the city when voters within a district were electing a representative council member to that district. So for this election, we had elections for both District 3 and District 4. In District 3, we had 3 candidates running for office, and our highest vote getter was Kevin Kildee. And in District 4, we had 2 candidates running for office, and our highest vote getter was Tony Tremblay. Thankfully, today we did receive the results from the county. So your recommended action tonight is to actually adopt the resolution certifying the results. I did want to mention before we move to that step that the remaining 3 council members will remain elected at large until the election in November 2022, when we will elect representatives to districts 1, 2, and 5. And with that, I'm available if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions by the council of Jeffrey? All right, if not, do I hear a motion?
Move to certify the results of the election.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Mrs. Craven and a second by Mr. Molche. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Craven,
Yes.
Councilmember Kildee,
Yes.
Councilmember Molche,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Santangelo. I think you're muted, Susan.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Tremblay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. We're now at the point of the meeting where I am going to relinquish my, what is in effect, I guess, the cyber gavel, and now turn this meeting over to Madam Clerk in its entirety to begin with item 4.
So the next item on our agenda is to install our newly elected council members. And this year, everything looks a little different. So we're going to do the oath a little differently. So what I'm going to ask is for each of you, we'll start with Kevin for District 3. that you go ahead and raise your right hand and recite the oath that I provided to you. Remember to unmute your microphone.
Thank you. I, Kevin Kilby, do affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Subscribed and sworn to before me this second day of December 2020.
Perfect, and congratulations.
Thank you.
If you'll sign the oath, we'll pass it to me a little later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, for District 4, I ask you to do the same thing. Can you please raise your right hand, maybe adjust your camera and recite your oath?
That's okay for a camera? Okay. I, Tony Tremblay, do affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter, subscribed and sworn to before me this second day of December 2020.
Excellent. Thank you, and congratulations to you also. So the next item on the agenda is the opportunity for our newly elected council members to make some comments. Kevin, would you like to go ahead and start for District 3?
Yeah, thank you. I had some prepared marks, but I'm not going to do them tonight. I'm very humbled by this. I want to thank everyone that helped me get to where I am tonight. There's several names. I'm not going to go through all the names because sure as I'm here tonight, I'll forget somebody. However, there are a couple of people I want to specifically thank. And one of them is Will Freeman and the other one is Darren Patner. I want to thank them for really helping me a lot on this campaign. I also want to thank my family, my wife, Janet, my daughter, Madeline, and my daughter, Miranda. I couldn't do this job without the support of a family, and they allow me to serve in this capacity to the city that I love, and I will do anything for the betterment of this city. It's all about representing Camarillo to me and moving us from where we were to where we are today and into the future. Specifically, I want to thank all the voters of the 3rd District for putting their confidence in me to represent them. I will do the very best that I can, whether you voted for me or not, whether you support me is, not the single most issue. I will treat everybody equally. I look forward to representing the 3rd District and getting to know the voters there to the best of my ability. However, I think it's still important, even though that we're elected district at this particular time, we still vote citywide. So all of the residents of Camarillo, I have an open door policy. I will help you to the best of my ability on any issues that you've got and try to resolve as many as I can. To my fellow council members, I look forward to serving with you this year and through this term. Staff members, thank you so much for all you do for our great city. I still feel we have the best staff in the city, and they make me look good. There's not much else that I can say about this. We've had a challenging year here, but we're going to get through this. Camarillo is poised to remain one of the strongest, if not the strongest city in the county. And I'm very proud to have a little bit of influence on that. It's all about the city. It's all about the residents. And I will do my best to humbly help everybody in this city so Camarillo can remain just a beacon of light like it always has been. And I've said this before, that I've had the distinct pleasure of knowing everybody that served on this council from inception in 1964. And I stand on the shoulders of giants, and I will do my very, very best to represent this great city. And I just want to thank everybody for your support. And Camarillo's best days are ahead of us. Thank you very much.
I think the next one up is me.
Yes.
All right. And so I want to say thank you to begin by saying thank you to all of those who supported my campaign, who encouraged me, who encouraged my candidacy, who walked door to door. I want to say thank you to the voters of District 4. I am humbled by your confidence in me. I am privileged to represent the city of Camarillo as a council member. I want to thank my best friend and wife, Kathy, and my family, because they sacrifice, and Kathy in particular sacrifices a lot of time for me to be away doing the city things for the city that, like Kevin indicated, that we love. I will work as hard as I possibly can over the next 4 years on several goals that I talked about during the campaign, including enhancing our existing quality of life here in the city and our economic well-being. And in particular right now, since we're in the grips of such a terrible pandemic, helping our city, helping its residents and our businesses to get through this time and through a post-pandemic recovery. As Kevin alluded to a few moments ago, although I've been elected by voters in district number 4, I will always remember that my obligation is to represent the entire city and all of its residents. And I keep that very much in mind. Kevin articulated it well, and I agree with that. I'm honored to serve with all of my fellow council members. I am privileged to serve with what I consider to be an exemplary and extraordinary city staff, who is just a terrific staff to work with. So with that, I will close it out and say thank you very much, and I'm honored to serve a second term on the City Council.
The next item on our agenda is for reorganization of the City Council. And before we start, I always like to review the process because we only do it once a year. So what'll happen is I'll open the floor for the nomination of the office. If there are multiple nominations, we'll vote on the nominations in the order that they were received. If there's only one nomination, a motion to close nominations will elect the nomination on the floor. So we'll go ahead and begin. The first one is, are there any nominations for the office of mayor?
I'd like to nominate Charlotte Craven for mayor.
Are there any other nominations or a motion to close?
Nominate Ms. Susan Santangelo for mayor.
Any other nominations, or shall we go for the first nomination on the floor? Is there a motion to nominate Charlotte Craven for mayor?
Yes, again, repeat that, please.
A motion to nominate Charlotte Craven for mayor.
I'll move that motion to nominate Charlotte Craven for mayor.
Is there a second?
Are we going to, I'll give that a second. Are we going to have any discussion on this? Because we've got two different motions.
You can have a discussion with the second on the floor.
So I'll motion that. I'll provide that motion, and noting that we have two nominations. And I guess I just would ask my colleagues, do we want to have any conversation about this?
We can. I don't know what conversation. I mean, I made the motion. I was the one that made the motion for Charlotte Craven, and we did get a second. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mayor Tremblay, do you have any comments, or should I go ahead and call for the question?
I can make a comment if you'd like, Mayor Crampley.
No, that's fine. I just wondered if there was
Okay.
any comments by any count. I'm just curious.
I'd appreciate a comment.
Yeah, I'll make a comment since I made nomination of Mrs. Craven. I think this is an extremely important year that we're going into. And Charlotte has served many years with distinction on this council. She has the experience to take us forward here. This is a very critical year coming out of COVID. And my thoughts on this is that she will provide leadership and guidance through this year. Being as though it's an extremely unusual year and unusual times that we're in at this particular point.
Are there any other comments?
I'll add well, it's not on this motion, but I'll add a comment saying that I was the other one to nominate an individual for the office of mayor. And I will just simply say that I agree with what Kevin said, that this is a pivotal moment in a very important time, not just our city, but say our state and our nation. I can't think of a more appropriate individual, one that has a background in health, someone who's a nurse, who's dedicated their life to taking care of others, and can speak as we continue to work through this, because the truth is COVID will continue to ravage our nation and our people and our community throughout this next year. And I can't think of anyone more appropriate than a nurse, trained, licensed, caring nurse, to speak on our behalf when it comes to addressing that problem. On the other hand as well, I will say that I think it's good to have a fresh voice and a fresh face from time to time. And I think that would serve us well. And I think it served us well in the past, and I think it'll continue to serve us well into the future. Those are my comments.
So before I call the roll, I did want to just remind everybody that this is a motion to nominate Charlotte Craven for the office of mayor. Councilmember Craven.
Yes.
Councilmember Kildee.
Yes.
Councilmember Molche.
No.
Vice Mayor Santangelo.
No.
Mayor Tremblay.
Yes.
That motion carries 3-2 with Councilmember Molche and Santangelo dissenting. Now we're going to move on to the next nomination, which is the nomination for the office of vice mayor.
Madam Clerk, I nominate Sean Molche.
I'll move to close nominations.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we're now voting on the nomination of Sean Molche for the office of vice mayor. Mayor Craven.
Yes.
Councilmember Kildee.
Yes.
Councilmember Molche.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Santangelo.
Yes.
And Councilmember Tremblay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. So the next item on the agenda is to recognize the outgoing mayor. And before, Charlotte, I turn it over to you. I just did want to say that Tony, we do have a plaque for you. So I will leave it for you in your office. And thank you very much for your service to the city and the community.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I know I thought about it. I said something about a cyber gavel before, but I guess there's a real one. Thank you.
Tony, do you have remarks?
I do. I'll try to keep them brief. Thank you, Mrs. Craven. It has been an honor to serve our city as mayor the past 12 months during what I think we would all agree is a very unique and a very challenging time. It's been a privilege to serve with all of you as my fellow council members. As I said before, I'm very indebted to my best friend and wife, Kathy, and my family, who let me, like your families too, spend an awful lot of hours on behalf of the city that we all love. I especially want to praise our city staff. They have endured and they are continuing to endure through a very difficult time. We all know as a council that we set our goals and objectives every February, and the city staff has worked diligently to implement our goals and objectives despite facing great adversity this year due to this terrible, terrible pandemic. And I think their commitment to our city is exemplary, and I want to thank them. And we did so in the State of the City video, and I want to do so publicly again. It has been a pleasure to serve as mayor with the kind of city staff that we have. Like Kevin said a few moments ago, they made me look good, which is a tough job. My final word to the community, and I know that Councilmember Santangelo and others always focus on this during our meetings, and it's extremely appropriate. And that is, I put a call out to our members of our community to please, during this time, we're undergoing and we're going into a very difficult next few months. Please continue to observe all of the public health officer orders, observe social distancing and washing hands and masking and so on. Please continue to take care of yourself. Please continue to take care of each other. Please look out for your neighbors. This is a city where we take care of one another. And we have a incredibly fine tradition of doing so. And I want to encourage everyone to continue doing that. And we will get through this pandemic. We will do it together, but it requires extra strength from us over the next several months while we work our way through. And with that in mind, again, it's been a privilege being a mayor during this last 12 months, during a year that I just never, I don't think any of us ever envisioned what this last year was going to be like. So it has been an honor working with all of you and with city staff. Thank you so much.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you did a splendid job during a very trying year, a year like no mayor in Camarillo has ever seen before, and I hope no mayor will ever see again. It was totally unexpected. And for something like that to hit out of the blue, you carried on very, very well. And I'd like to thank you for your leadership during this year. Do any other council members have anything to add right now? Mr. Mulchay.
Mr. Mayor Chairman, I do want to say you were certainly thrown a curveball. And like Charlotte said, one that was unique, one that no one in the history of Camarillo has really been thrown. I think you did it with a steady hand. You handled it with grace. You handled it very, very well. And you know, it was a situation that no one knew how to handle or how to approach. And I think you did so with, I think you did so very smartly, very, like I said, very steady-handedly. And I too would like to thank you for your leadership over the last 12 months.
Thank you.
Mr. Kildee.
Yeah, Ms. Tremblay, you did an outstanding job. What a year to pick to be mayor, huh? We didn't wanted to kind of ease you into the job, you know, that was kind of the type of thing we were thinking about doing here. Funny thing happened on the way to the mayorship, didn't it? You know, your tutelage and your experience in government for many years came through with flying colors this year, Tony, and you did an outstanding job. I'm very proud of you. You served with distinction. Residents of Camarillo were very lucky to have somebody like yourself at the helm. And, I wish you nothing but, you know, continued success as your role on this council, and you bring a distinct set of qualifications to this. And I know you're going to represent your district and the residents of Camarillo to the very best of your ability. So outstanding job. Be a memorable year, Tony. We'll never forget this one. So
We won't.
congratulations on your mayorship.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor. Tony, I had some really wonderful things to say about you and the things that you've done for this council, and how you've always talked about how well functioning we are and how cordial we are and respectful. I don't feel it tonight. Sorry, but thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments for the outgoing mayor? I guess it says comments by the incoming mayor. I only have a few. I didn't prepare a lot, but as I've always done when I started as a term of mayor, I've looked up and said, hey, Stan. Stan is former mayor and mayor emeritus of the city of Camarillo, Stan Daly. So Stan, if you're counting from up there, this is numero ocho. And that's a private joke between Stan and me. But seriously, I want to thank you for selecting me for an unprecedented 8th term as mayor. And I appreciate the confidence that you've placed in me, and I'm honored. And I promise I'll maintain the order and the decorum that's expected of the mayor of a great city like Camarillo. So thank you very much. And with that, we will adjourn this meeting. And with that, I will open the meeting of the Camarillo Sanitary District and ask the record to reflect that all board members are present, and ask if there are any amendments to this agenda.
No amendments to the agenda.
Public comments. I don't have it on the right screen to tell if there's anybody with their hand up. Do we have any public comments for the Camarillo Sanitary District?
Nobody is raising their hand.
Okay. That means we get to the reorganization, and I will turn it over to the city clerk.
All right, so this is the same process as we had earlier. So we'll begin with the nominations for the office of chairman.
Madam Clerk, I will nominate Tony Tremblay.
Are there any other nominations or a motion to close nominations?
I'll move to close nominations.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So we're going to vote on the nomination of Tony Tremblay for the office of chairman. Chair Craven.
Yes.
Councilmember Kildee.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Secretary Kildee. Director Mulchay.
Yes.
Director Santangelo.
Yes.
Director Tremblay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. We're going to move on to the office of nominations for the office of secretary.
I nominate Susan Santangelo.
Are there any other nominations or a motion to close?
I'll move to close nominations.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Director Craven.
Yes.
Secretary Kildee.
Yes.
Director Mulchay,
Yes.
Director Santangelo,
Yes.
Chair Tremblay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. So I can turn it over to you, Chair Tremblay, to adjourn.
All right. We'll note for the record that we're adjourning this meeting of the Camarillo Sanitary District. Thank you.
All right, and I will open up the meeting of the Camarillo Community Development Commission special meeting today for Wednesday, December 2nd. Please recognize it, or please observe that all members are present. Any amendments to the agenda?
No amendments to the agenda.
And do we have any public comments? I'm looking at attendees. I don't
Doesn't
see
appear to be any public
any hand
comments.
raised. All right. We will move over to the reorganization. City Clerk, will you please take it away?
So the first office on the floor is the office of chairman. Are there any nominations?
Nominate Kevin Kildee.
Are there any other nominations or a motion to close?
I'll make a motion to close.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we're voting for the nomination of Kevin Kildee for the office of chairman. Commissioner Tremblay,
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yes.
Commissioner Kildee,
Yes.
Commissioner Craven,
Yes.
Vice Chair Santangelo,
Yes.
Chair Mulchay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. The next nomination is for the office of vice chairman.
I nominate Sean Mulchay.
I'll move to close nominations.
There's a second.
Second.
So we're voting for the nomination of Sean Mulchay for the position of vice chairman. Commissioner Tremblay,
Yes.
Chair Kildee,
Yes.
Commissioner Craven,
Yes.
Vice Chair Santangelo,
Yes.
and Commissioner Mulchay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. I'll turn that over to Chair Kildee to adjourn the meeting.
We stand adjourned.
That brings us to the library board. And that is President Mulchay.
Sorry. Thank you. I will open the Camarillo Library Board. Please recognize all trustees are present. Any amendments to the agenda
No amendments to the agenda.
and any public comments?
It doesn't appear anybody's raised their hand.
I do not see anyone raising their hand either. Okay. We'll move on to the reorganization. City
So
Clerk?
we'll start with the office of president. Are there any nominations for the office of president?
I'd
I
like-
nominate Susan Santangelo.
I'll move to close nominations.
I'll second.
Please vote on the nomination of Susan Santangelo for the office of president. Trustee Tremblay,
Yes.
Trustee Kildee,
Yes.
Trustee Craven,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Santangelo,
Yes.
President Mulchay.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. The next office is the office of President Pro Tem. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Tony Tremblay.
I move nominations close.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So we're voting for the Tony Tremblay for the office of President Pro Tem. Trustee Tremblay,
Yes.
Trustee Kildee,
Yes.
Trustee Craven,
Yes.
Trustee Mulchay,
Yes.
President Santangelo.
Yes.
That motion carries unanimously. And I'll turn that over to President Santangelo to adjourn.
And we are adjourned.
Thank you very much. I'll just mention really quickly that that concludes all our meetings this evening, so we are done.